Thank you, Senator Cruz. Now, I want to thank the chairman for holding today's hearing as part of this committee's continued oversight of aircraft certification in the wake of the two tragic crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia. My deepest sympathies remain with the families of the victims, and we want to thank them for being here today. And I want to associate myself with the comments that have already been made by the chairman and other members of the committee, emphasizing the importance of being responsive to requests for documents and other information as we conduct oversight. I hope you are hearing loudly and clearly, Mr. Dixon, how critical that is to the work that we do and to the work that you do in order to keep the flying public safe. One of the major lessons that we learn from these tragic accidents is that a thorough consideration of human factors should become a more fundamental component of the design and testing of new aircraft, especially as avionics systems become increasingly complex. Where do you see opportunities for the FAA to improve its consideration of human factors in the aircraft certification process?
It's a great question, Senator. First of all, it's bolstering our human factors expertise. So there is a workforce component in addition to working with academia and NASA on these issues. Frankly, also involving our pilots and our flight standards group, our aircraft evaluation group, into the certification process at an earlier and more integrated point in the process will allow us to take a more holistic view of the role of the human in aircraft design and not look at them as independently as they have been in the past. And because it's more than a matter of just training a pilot to operate a particular machine, we want to make sure that the pilot is viewed as a part of the design.
Okay, good. Well, that was one of the things I think that we learned is there were gaps in training as well, and seems like a serious issue to be addressed. You mentioned in your testimony the FAA will need to ensure that personnel receive the training they need to adequately adapt to an industry that is constantly adopting new technologies and implementing complex systems. In line with that discussion, what initiatives is FAA pursuing to ensure that current personnel have the training they need as well as recruit and hire new personnel?
Well, it's, again, a great question. Our aviation safety organization has a 10-year workforce plan, and we are in the process of continually reviewing our needs. In our response to the Secretary of Special Committee report, we will have a focus again on, I talked about human factors experts, but also system engineers, software engineers, and data scientists, so that we can again have stay ahead of new technologies as they're introduced.
Your testimony also discussed, and you mentioned it just previously here, the FAA's plans to adopt a more holistic approach when it comes to certification, consistent with recommendations from the Special Committee to review the FAA's aircraft certification process. This includes better coordination between various FAA offices and adoption of a safety management system for aircraft manufacturers. How does the FAA plan to improve coordination between offices such as the Aircraft Certification Service and flight standards responsible for different aspects of the certification process?
Well, it's a great question. We've recently initiated a program to train our aviation safety inspectors who are involved in the aircraft evaluation group on many of the processes that our aircraft certification engineers actually use, so that they're able to participate more fully in all phases of that process. In addition to that, we are standing up a project management or program management function that will take these programs where you have over a period of years, and sometimes you have personnel changes and people who may not be there throughout the whole 5 to 7 years of the project, to make sure that the entire project hangs together from beginning to end. So those two functions should improve the coordination. That's the goal between those two parts of the agency.
Can you speak quickly here to how requiring adoption of a safety management system for manufacturers would benefit FAA's oversight of the certification process?
Yes, Senators. SMS has many benefits. I think it's actually the most important step that we can take to improve aircraft certification. On the company's side, the manufacturer puts, again, safety responsibility where it belongs, and it promotes transparency and voluntary employee reporting on safety issues, and it refocuses accountability for product safety to the highest levels of the company. On the agency side, it allows us to oversee the system and the process, and it reinforces the sharing of data in a dynamic process between the manufacturer and the agency. So it greatly improves the regulator's ability to identify hazards and manage our oversight before a compliance bust actually occurs. We don't have to wait for that because we're getting a data feed all throughout the process.
Okay, thank you. And my time has expired. Next up, and I think she is with us remotely, is Senator Sinema. And upon the conclusion of Senator Sinema's questions, pending any other senators' appearances, we will move to the second panel. Senator Sinema.